Hello, everyone. Welcome to another broadcast of Ask the Wizard almost daily. This one's really, well, I think they're all pretty cool. This one's really cool because there's only one person you have to convince to transform something from being a miracle to being an inevitability. The trick is we keep trying to convince the wrong person or persons. All right, so that is the teaching topic for today. Starting the 5-minute timer now. Ask the Wizard broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Audio is up on Spotify. Search for Ask the Wizard Coach to find me. Okay, I will be back in 5. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Turn this down a little bit. It is... Geez, I don't know what day it is. It's Wednesday. That's what it is. September 7th. Wow. I know I say that a lot. A lot of people are saying that now. And you know me, right? I come from that perspective that it kind of fits in with the topic today. That there's no happenstance. That there's an order and an orchestration to everything. A phrase that I would, or a byline, I don't know, whatever you would want to call it, I would often use is we can choose to see our experience as absolute chaos, that there's no order and it's full of randomness. Or, and in that case we're right, or we can choose to see that it's simply our perception that there is chaos and disarray and all that kind of stuff. Because, and I mean, there's some things there'll always be a mystery. We're never when we're walking around in this particular vehicle called a body, we're never going to be able to even have that vibration that's high enough that we can see everything. And I don't think we're designed to, because that would eliminate trust. That would eliminate the ability to create our experience in so many ways. But understanding that the error, if you will, is in our perception that there's randomness and chaos, not that there is. Anyhow, that's totally a tangent, but I like to hang out on tangents a lot. This one come into my awareness this morning. I was actually looking through some old articles, newsletters, I guess you would say, that I'd written from, I don't know, 15 years ago, 2007. Actually, before that, 2005, 2006. And this kind of found its way to me because one of them was, I talked about how, if I could find it really quickly, I would bring it up. Anyway, if you just tuned in, Ask the Wizard almost daily for September the 7th. I'm not going to find it now. I was just talking about how I sort of started from nothing, if you want to call it that, in a very short period of time. Created when I was able to create some massive changes. I think it was the sentence was essentially that in the last 2 months I traveled to 30 different cities. I don't know how many, states and provinces and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, here's something that, and I say this often, that trip us up. And I think that's the thing, right? We're always learning and we're always remembering what we've learned, because once we learn something, I mean, it doesn't mean that we're always going to remember it and then follow onto it. Boy, I need more coffee, and sort of practice it, because we forget. There's a whole bunch of reasons why we forget. We get distracted, whatever, right? So it's really, that's why another one of my bylines was, I called it the lost art of studying, and how so often we go, okay, well, I've learned that, I've read that, I've been to that course, I've done that. So why would I want to go back and look at the manual, or why would I want to go back and reread the text, or why would I want to go back and watch the videos again? Because I already did that. But you see, that's the thing, is that's all, I call it non-physical nutrients. And we need to do that because we forget shit. We start on the straight and narrow, and that's good, and we got this, and then you veer off, and that's okay. That's one of the reasons why it's so important to continually immerse yourself in the type of information that resonates with you, whatever that information is. To manifest a miracle, you only need to convince one person that it's possible. And then I kind of expanded on that, and I said, the trouble is, we're often trying to convince the wrong one or ones, right? Sorry, that was just my sister. Hold on, we're just texting me about our mother, who was coming up to 94, I think, or 95, I can't remember. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's kind of funny. Shoot, I can't remember. Not that it matters much, but she's now getting physio whether she likes it or not. And Shauna said she had her physiotherapist had her up walking in the walker today. Said she walks down the hall. But anyway, that's pretty good. The fact that she's up. She actually talked to Mom after, I think, the first day or something like that. Mom said, yeah, the physiotherapist was in and all that kind of stuff. And what was it? Didn't really like it. But she's getting it whether she wants it or not. Anyway, back to the topic. There's only one person you need to convince. We seem to end up trying to convince the wrong one or ones. And that's, which is understandable, because we are a community. We are community creatures. We like to connect with people. We like to communicate with others. We like to share what we believe and what we experience. And we like to have them. There we go. There's this desire to have others understand us. And not that will never be the case. But when you're stepping into the believing the unbelievable, that often doesn't work, because whatever this dream or desire is that you have, again, I wrote an article about this too, not the ones you tell other people. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the ones that you don't tell anybody, sometimes not even yourself. See, there's another reason. It looks like I'm just freestyling here. There's another reason why we often don't truly embrace our dreams and our desires, like the big ones. Right? The ones that make your heart sing. And we just sort of leave them in a closet, and we bring them out every once in a while, and we kind of dance around them, I guess. But to actually embrace them in our heart is because they're so much a part of who we are, that I think there's this fear that if I really embrace it, what if I discover that it's not possible? This is really good. Those dreams, those desires, the ones that make your heart sing and make your head ache. I'm going to clarify that. The ones that make your heart sing and insult and offend your logic. Like there's this fight where your heart just feels it and your logic goes, what the hell are you talking about? Or you take that, and then it's like the train wreck waiting to happen. You tell others about it. Because I tell you, if you ever want to have those dreams, those desires, like sort of dashed onto the rocks, tell others about it. And then here's what we do. And then we try and explain or to have them understand or to believe with us. Here's the thing, to believe with us and not against us. And I'm not saying that this person, people's, right, anything out here is your enemy or anything like that. But it doesn't make sense to them because it's not their dream. It's not their desire. It's yours. And I get it. Believe me, I get it. I do it probably way more than I know I should. But to try and explain to others why you dreamed this dream, why you're choosing to believe this, it's in many respects, it's a no-win game, because that's not who you need to be concerned about convincing. Right? Title of the show is, to manifest a miracle, you only need to convince the right person that it's possible, and it sure as hell is not them. It's you. You don't have to worry about anyone else because it's not their world you're creating. Yes, they're part of the whole thing, right? But it's not their world. It's not their experience that you're creating. It's yours. And again, not that this is adversarial or not that the people, persons, places, things, and events, right, are trying to dash your dreams. It has nothing to do with that. I think in many ways, you've got your work, trust me, you've got your work cut out for you just convincing yourself. Because you've got all those years of programming. You've got all those sort of resistances within you. Forget about anything outside of you. You've got all those resistances in you. One of the big ones, I'm just kind of freestyling here. One of the big ones is, so remember the voices in your head, right? There's kind of two types of voices, right? There's the voices that are talking to you, and then there's you speaking. So the voices talking to you, they're like voices talking to you. Your voice, I call it your I am voice, is like first person. I am. It's like you're speaking to them. So just what I've found is a handy little tip, especially as it relates to the topic for today's show. The voices that are talking to you, they're kind of bastards. Don't listen to them. That was a bit strong, but still, don't listen to them. Because they're going to give you all the reasons why it doesn't make sense. Remember I said that makes your heart sing and your logic be offended? See, that's why. It's because it feels good in your heart. And then what happens is your logic kicks in and it gets offended because it's going, what the hell are you talking about? Right? Like, how many times have you tried this, whatever this is, before and it hasn't worked out? Or the other one, again, often with the best of intentions, is, well, how is that going to happen? Sure, this is a really cool dream, a really cool desire, all that kind of stuff. But how the hell is this going to happen? You see, because your logic is not how you manifest dreams, especially the big ones, right? Your logic is how you perpetuate today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, what you've created yesterday, last week, last month, last year. Your logic is a handy tool, but not in all cases. See, your job is to convince yourself. This is the power of your I am voice. And yes, you're going to get in this debate with your other voices, but that's where you need to hold strong. Your job is to continually exhort yourself, edify yourself. This, yourself. Convince yourself. And that's the thing. I mean, you'll have lots to do, boy. I'll tell you. Convincing yourself and continually, because you got the damn voices in your head, continually telling you why it can't happen. Your job is to support yourself, is to be your own coach, is to be your own best supporter, is to be your own confidant, is to be your own whatever. Be your own teacher in many ways. And to not worry about anyone else. Because it kind of takes care of itself in many ways. But the only one that needs to believe is you. Don't worry about the rest. It's just you. So then you say, okay, but the thing of it is, people, places, things, and events, like everything in your external world, the sun just went under a cloud. So my camera didn't adjust for it. But anyway, that works. And darkness fell across the land. Anyway, oh, there it goes. It's coming back out. But this dream, I mean, it's going to manifest out here, and it sort of requires a cooperation of stuff out here in my physical world. Absolutely. What if it involves people? Okay. So they need to believe, right? In order for this whole thing to work. Well, actually, no. Because It's your experience. And again, your logic just makes no sense. It's your experience you're creating. And so what do? Well, you create in your mind the version, if I can use that word, of the people, places, things, and events that support the dream, support the desire. This has got to be valuable, because there goes my throat. So create that in the ways that would support your dreams/desires. And again, now your logic's really going to freak out, because it's going to say, okay, but they're not. Now you're really being delusional. Well, sometimes delusional is a really good place to be. I don't want to make this go on hours and hours and hours, but well, I'm actually just about everything that's around me right now, but I've got my phone right in front of me that I use as a monitor. So it's this little thing you've all got your phones. They're so incredibly compact, so incredibly powerful, and it's streaming just fine, tying in with who knows what else. Well, the first person to come up with that was delusional. And of course, flight. I mean, we get so many examples of it, right? So many of the people, the Renaissance individuals, of course, were called delusional. So maybe delusional is a good place to be when you're manifesting that miracle that you're looking for. But to create within you the best version, if I can use that phrase, of them. I was actually going to do the other one, another topic in my mind, but this one kind of come in place, was what other people think of you, like, really isn't none of your business. But what you think of them is everything. Neville Goddard, one of the teachers I refer to often. There's another one. I think it's Florence Scovel or something like that. We're talking turn of the century stuff. And of course, many, many others. What they would do is when people would come to them for a healing, I guess I would use that word, not just physical, financial, relationship, occupation, geography, all those kind of things. Quote unquote, all they would do, not even so much when that person was in their presence, sometimes it's easier when they're not in that presence, is they would create a picture in their mind of that person having the experience that they want to experience. So in their mind, if it was a physical healing, they would create a picture in their mind of that person completely whole and healthy. In their mind. And then, of course, the person would come back, son of a gun, if they weren't healthy and whole. Well, how does that happen? Well, we understand a fair bit of how that happens. I'm very confident we're just scratching the surface of understanding like the complete mechanics of how it happens. But fortunately, we don't have to understand every little piece of it in order to be able to use it. I mean, especially now. I mean, your car is way more computer than it is car. I have no idea how they work anymore. Used to. I mean, you got the carburetor, you got your fuel pump, you got the distributor, all this kind of stuff. Now, all you see is it's just computer stuff. But you can still use it. So you bet, this will not make sense. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it makes sense. What matters is you convincing yourself that it's true for you, not for anyone else. Neville Goddard talks a lot about ignoring the physical external evidence and being loyal to that picture you create in your mind of your reality. And so many, well, all, I think I could say, of the teachers, I'll use that word that I refer to, they really did practice what they preach, and there's like evidence all over the place of the, I don't want to say successes, but I guess you could say that. So it's not like they're throwing out some rhetoric. They actually practice it. And there's tons of evidence of the results of that. And to validate the processes. And all these guys, the big guys, they may use different ways of framing it, different ways of communicating it. but it's all the same stuff. And there's something in that too. And that was one of the things for me. I will conclude, but that was one of the things for me is, and even now, is as you research all these different peoples in all these different fields, they'll have often their own unique way of explaining it, but they're talking about the same thing. And I mean, we can learn something from that. Right? Understanding that your way isn't necessarily my way. We share each other's, what we've learned, what we've experienced, what works for us, what we found doesn't work for us. You take that information, you try different things. Then you take what works for you. Don't worry about what doesn't work for you. But the one common denominator is you got to convince yourself, don't worry about anybody else, that what you're choosing to believe to be true is. And especially, do not look in your external circumstances to validate it, especially in the beginning. It's going to do the exact opposite. Your job, don't tell anybody. Convince yourself. Continually convince, support, exhort, edify yourself. Because that's all that matters. All that matters is you believe. That's it. That's all that matters. Well, this is a really good show. I think... Where's my mouse? I think I'm done. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This has been Ask the Wizard. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Strip the audio. I put it on Spotify. Search for Ask the Wizard Coach on Spotify, and you'll find my profile. Share. See you on the web.